everyone, this is Michi Hoyer from Avid Chronic Racing, and I'm live here for the Sim Pit doing another episode of setup guiding, concentrating entirely just on differential settings for today. So, going into rFactor 2, this is going to be the sim where I will for sure show you some tiny thing of setting up a car with differential stuff. As I got a little drawing in here, I will use that quite a lot in order to tell you guys what it is about having a good differential setting. So I hope you guys are fine tonight, and I hope you guys also brought some time with you, as I'm already firing up the rFactor 2 engine here. So there you go, and I quickly gonna do that on a car that I really know of, that it works very well, and we do it at Marina Bay Circuit. And this is a very technical track where it's very important to get around those corners in quite a bit some short time, and that will enable me to really show you what it is about to have a good setup here. So I hope I still have... No, I haven't. Thought I would have a railroad preset maybe. So nevertheless, I put it 50%, have it static, and there we go. On this Marina Bay circuit here. And well, while this track will be loading, I will tell you what differential is about to do. So if you see that tiny little race car here, and I think it's a right-hand turn, yeah. So you have two set of tires, which is the outer wheels and the inner wheels, and we don't look at the front wheels because on a Formula 1 car, there is no drive on the front wheels usually. At least I do not know a car that has four-wheel drive of the modern art. So anyway, we're only looking at the rear-wheel drive here. So when making this corner, the inner wheel, so the blue one, has to travel a lot less distance than the red one, and I've tried to show you that because those tires are, those tires are turning into a different speed. So the inner wheel maybe has a velocity of 80 meters per second, whereas the outer wheel has a velocity of maybe 100 meters per second. Those are just random numbers, just to show you the difference and give you some kind of feeling or some kind of knowledge about what's the difference between the inner wheel and the outer wheel. So, and usually when you're looking at the drivetrain, it's both wheels being attached to the same gearbox, both wheels being attached on the same drive, on the same drivetrain, on the same engine. Like, it's everything is the same. So every modern race car definitely has a device in the middle of the car, making the left and the right wheel being able to spin independent of the other hand side, which is called a differential. You guys already heard about it, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, today I want to give you a little bit of insight how this is working on a car. And when looking at the differential, you look at two specific type of settings. The one setting is the differential is fully closed and locked. That means that the right hand side of the wheel is very much attached to the left hand rear wheel. So when going through a corner, both wheels are turning at the same speed. And if you guys have some kind of trailer at home you put in the back of the car, and it is a double X trailer, like wait, let me have a look. Quick one to get your picture up here. like looking for that. Yeah, probably, yeah, this one or that one. This one is entirely good. Like in this trailer, on this kind of trailer, you have well, you definitely have a closed differential because both axes are linked to each other, and you have a really hard time to push that trailer into either direction when being stationary. I mean, pushing it forward and backward is easy, but pushing it to left or right is kind of hard because the tires are really stick and you can't really move them. And that's exactly what a closed differential is. However, if the differential is open, that allows the inner wheel to spin at a different speed than the outer wheel. And I will show you that kind of difference today here on the FSR car. It's currently loaded with the FSR setup I was running in that race. So looking at the gauges here, 0% of differential means open differential, so both tires can spin at the specific speed they need to spin, and 100% means entirely closed differential. Then you have 4 different kinds of settings. The preload, we will not talk too much about the preload because that is not actually affecting the real behavior of the differential. However, we will look at pump. Pump is a general setting of the differential, like the tendency, what the differential is going to do. The power means the differential being on throttle, and the coast being the differential being off throttle or on braking. So in Formula 1 you have a mapping set for corner entry, corner apex, corner exit. And those differentials, like it's the same here. You can have, say, if that's the general one, that's the corner apex. If that's the acceleration one, that's the corner exit. And if that's the braking one, that's the corner entry. So looking at those things here, I will show you first time being set everything closed. So everything is on 100 and everything looks pretty bad, I think. So we're definitely looking to some kind of boat driving. So right now, in general, on throttle and off throttle, the entire differential is closed, which will give me kind of hard time to go around in corners. You will see. Not here, since I think at that low speed it doesn't work at all. But you will see quite soon. I mean, especially when then moving over to a setup that has a turning car. You will see exactly what I'm on about. And I think you will see it quite early as well already. I mean, on this setup now, I have a perfect balance suspension-wise as well. So probably the difference isn't that severe at the minute. But you see, I have to like turn the wheel quite a lot to make the car go around the corner, which on the one side will be very bad for the tire wear at the front, and that's what you're basically gonna witness. The front wheels will wear a lot more than the rear wheels, so I'm very much expecting that to happen. And if you guys got any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask. I mean, I see you guys listening at the minute, probably because of interest. But obviously those sessions are also for getting, oops, there is a glitch in the track, I assume, for getting questions answered. So anyway, you can see me quite understeer around that circuit. and you soon will see the reason why. Nevertheless, I will definitely put in some lap times first. So remember, this is a fully closed differential, so it grants a lot of stability on braking. It grants a massive amount of stability on corner exit. With an open differential, I would just have lost the car at the exit of that turn 3, that's for sure. So still understeering a lot into those corners. And you will not notice the difference right now from just watching me drive here around this circuit in this manner without having any reference. But what's actually happening now, if you remember the picture I have, now it's like both rear wheel tires are linked to each other, meaning that the inner wheel has a lot of wheel spin because it's powering the car, and the outer wheel has a lot of slip, like it's more like the car is driving the rear, the outside wheel rather than the engine. So you definitely have only some power on the inside of the drive tire. Oh, that glitch is really annoying. But you can see, especially in those low speed corners, the car does not turn at all, which is very much down to this fact there.
That was a 1:48.51.
So anyway, I'm gonna give this a proper attack now to actually set a benchmark. We then can, whoops. Yeah, I mean and that makes it entirely easy to like catch on a spin as well. Because with the rear tires being linked to each other, they have some kind of braking going on when being sideways, because the general differential setting always aims to put the car into a straightforward position. Oh dear. That's really bad driving here at the minute. As I saw, I got some, and that's why I know it feels weird. So traction control, I need that off. That off as well. Probably done some GT driving in between. So, probably going again then. And yeah, yes, as you can see, car's really stubborn behavior there on turning. And despite having now put off traction control and anything, the car more or less simply refuses to spin or turn around. I mean, which makes it considerably easy to put down the power at the minute. But as I said, it makes it incredibly difficult to get the car around corners. Tundra, what do you mean about lap time? I mean, it's always track dependent. On rFactor, probably less an issue than on iRacing. I mean, looking at myself on iRacing, I'm like 1.5 to 2 seconds off the best drivers there on any car whatsoever. Just because of not being able to fully unleash possibilities of the car and build good sets there. However, here on rFactor, I'm crying out loud. I must have got the wrong version of that track. Here at rFactor, it's the very same to some extent. Hmm. There you go. Looks like we do have some decent railroad, so I think I just found the right track. Without the glitch then, I hope. Yeah, anyway, going back to topic. Being on the right setup obviously means fully unleash the physics of the car. And, well, it's depending. Yeah, I agree. It's close to be 2 seconds. I would say it's a little less depending on your driving skill. But when I start building a set from scratch, I'll probably end up somewhere. Difficult to tell really. I want to find the right set. Somehow can't really do. So look, FSR Sindan. That I won't share it though. Go. But putting the same values back on the car. Yeah, but in general, like a really good set makes you go faster and faster and faster. So I quickly go out, put in a lap time, and then I will definitely show you the difference on different differential settings. As I already said, that the car is now not unspinnable, but pretty much easy to drive. However, it does not really go around the corners, which is annoying. But yeah, I mean, there's happily differential where you can do something about that. The most problems you will probably suffer in high-speed corners. So yeah, I mean, when talking about slip and slide angle, then again, as I said, the inner wheel, so now the right-hand wheel, is wheel spinning, whereas now the right-hand wheel is going to be pulled or pushed by the car. With that being said, I mean, it's the inner wheel that only has to travel like 60 meters around the corner, whereas the outer wheel has to travel 65 or 70 meters. But if they're both gonna do it at the same speed, it's usually the outer tire that needs more time or longer time. Do it around the corner, which then puts the car into a less tight turning, which is also known as understeer. And yeah, therefore on closed differential setting more or less just grants stability rather than everything else. So just trying to fiddle in a good lap. Yeah, the car is really driving like a boat. And yeah, as I said, the car spinning is easy to catch there. I have to admit though that I'm quite unused to this car at this stage, and yeah, that's why I'm breaking myself a tiny little bit. But yeah, in order to make this understeer not too worse, I'm like really driving it aggressively on the throttle. Trying to give it somewhat of turning movement. As you can see, there is probably nothing turning at all. Like, the car looks understeery from your point of view, and I know from driving it around that circuit that that isn't the case. So 145.3. What I'm gonna show you at first though is having a general locked pump, general locked power, but the coast now being put to 0. That means while being off throttle or braking, the tires can spin at whatever speed they want to spin, which will result in a very, very nervous car on the braking and turning. So I might lose it there a lot and just counter steer it by getting on the throttle. You will see quite soon. Especially when being off throttle, the car now turns a lot. And this turning will immediately go into understeering as soon as going on the throttle. And the real effect is gonna be then seen by lap timing in the end. And probably the best way to see it on here on the video is when being in the slow sections. That's when the car is really going to turn a lot. Problem is though, I'm not very often completely off throttle, just like here. Because you use the throttle to really steer the car around the corner. But I mean, if you look at the time delta already, especially here now, you will see the difference of the differential. The car goes so much more better around those corners. So I just gained 1.5 tenths in that little section here over the other lap there. So oops. Yeah, you will see me gaining kind of a lot of time on braking and turning now, which then results in getting more speed on the exits of the corner, since the car is pointing even more to the straight, which it didn't do before on the full lock differential. Car's still so understeery. Like, it's the general setting now, evening out the difference between coast setting and power setting a bit. So next time around, I'm definitely gonna put that setting on 0 as well. Or I will keep it. I will keep it on 100 when going down with the power setting. So there you go, just a second faster from a different differential setting, which also answers the question a little bit of Tundra, how a good setup can affect your lap time there. So it was just one setting, well, going from one extreme to the other extreme, but still, it's a major change. So as I've now swapped the differential settings from power and coast, You will now see me understeer like mad into a corner, but probably oversteer out of it. Since on the braking the car doesn't turn at all, and as soon as I hit the accelerator, the car swings around just like that. You will see this quite often now. As soon as I hit the accelerator, the rear's trying to spin because of the open differential. It's very... You have to be patient to get on the throttle when understeering towards the wall. What you actually have to do in order to make the car turn. Especially here in the hairpin now. But yeah, being on throttle here makes the car so nicely turning around those corners, so that will result definitely into another better lap time than we did before. You will definitely see this. Because now, for me, it's very much easier to really drive the car towards its limit, since I actually can control it with my foot. So the understeer that would appear while being off throttle can be easily turned into a turning car while giving it a little bit of gas, which then equals out the full understeer being off throttle into oversteer being on throttle. It's just the initial moment you really need to hit. So again, that's probably not an optimal setting for the car. Touching the wall there a bit. I will probably lose a lot here, since I have to wait for the car to turn. And this driving obviously results into much more tire wear in the back. Which you also can see there. So I really need to try to keep up the time there. Always be on throttle in order to make the car go around the corner. If I'm not on throttle, I simply understeer. And with that being said, it's just a tiny little improvement. But you now only can imagine what will be the improvement if everything is opened. So, by opening everything right now, that means putting everything on 0. You will now see a very oversteery car. Probably even too oversteery now. Well, that's good for me, because that now means I can drive it. I mean, look at the turning now. It's really turning a lot. So turning angle is a lot less. It's extremely loosey on the back though. Which is bad, but okay. Simply have to deal with that. But it will be lovely here in those slow corners, as it suddenly turns simply from its own, or a bit too much, as you can see. So now it's the rear starting to float into the barrier. You see all that sliding going on. Now wherever I turn the wheel, the car goes fully to there. As you can see. So ready to turn this car into a spin now. And it's very unstable on the braking, as you can see. So that's definitely all the effect from the differential. If being good and being able to manage all this behavior of the car, you're gonna probably drive it very fast around here. Since this type of car behavior is exactly what you want to have. Sharp turning, massive grip. Probably not drifting it around the corner, but I mean, look at that. With the exit being not too perfect, still 1.5 tenths down, which will increase through here. And now I am gaining time like everywhere compared to the other setups. I'm going faster through every section if I do it right. Now it's especially the off throttle that's being a bit too hard. It's not the on throttle. So the coast setting is definitely tearing the rear off a bit. But still, with all that sliding and drifting, I'm making up some time. And I will gain a lot through here, I'm sure, if the car's not too unsettled. So yeah, just 3 or 4 tenths being gained in that area. And despite the bad corner in the end, making it a major improvement on around 143.4. So, going back to the natural setting that I had, as I said, the coast was a little bit too bad. That was 1, I think, and pump and coast being 7, so it just makes the car not as aggressive. I should now have the full confidence to put in an even better lap time there. Bit of a driving error. Still, it's the coast that is pulling a little bit too hard there on the car, and with no real road being involved, there's not enough grip to counter steer that. Because I have to say that this car obviously was set up for a race then on some kind of real road to simulate the grip during the session, and as the session evolves, as the grip evolves, obviously that puts a lot of change towards the car balance, and now the car is a little bit too much off balance because of the missing grip. Nevertheless, I think you guys can see where the journey could go to. So let's see where we're gonna end up, if we're gonna improve. So better turn 3. Yeah, it's now just the car behaving more like to my personal liking. It's not that aggressive or that floating in the rear as it was before. Oops. No. Touch the wall there. Nevertheless, I think I'm still able to make this a purple lap time. Right, no more mistakes allowed now. So yeah, that's just a little extra momentum going on because of a tiny settled car due to differential settings, which enables me to go faster and faster than ever thought before. So as you can see, with the wrong setting in differential, we were like 2 seconds off on the beginning of that session. Or close to 2 seconds, I would actually have to look it up. It was too bad on the braking for that curb. But we're already down to 43.1. And that's the nice thing about this differential. That's all about the fine-tuning that's going on a race car. Which it then can put it fully towards your personal liking. No. So you can see, not a perfect lap in the end, but looking at virtual PBs, so 46.2 would have been possible. We did a 42.7. We quickly compare those lap times with the beginning, so 2.5 seconds. So to answer your question, Tundra, yes, setup is quite important, can make you really faster. And yeah, I mean, it's all down to personal liking. Generally, I would say the more open you got your differential, looking once again, the more open you got your differential, the better or the easier both tires hit their specific speeds they need to hit. Like right in the end, I was giving the car just that little amount of closed differential to make the car or to make the turn in a steady move, because putting both rear tires on equal speed also means stability, which you definitely need. However, want to have the differential being that open that the inner wheel is doing that speed, whereas the outer wheel is doing that speed, but in a very safe way, and linking them to each other grants some kind of stability in terms of general car behavior. However, I would recommend to raise a differential as open as possible, because it gives you that flexibility and just that possibility to gain some momentum when going into a corner, when going through a corner or accelerating out of it. I mean, you're never gonna do a switchback in a hairpin with a closed differential because you simply understeer out of the corner. However, with the open differential, you can be on the very inside and still be on the very inside on the exit of the hairpin. Um, because with an open differential in the end, the inner car or the inner wheel is allowed to stop, whereas the outer wheel is still allowed to drive or to have some speed. Whereas on a closed one, both are fixed at the same speed. So when the inner wheel stops, the outer wheel stops. That stops the car. So on a hairpin, the inner wheel would not be allowed to stop. That makes somewhat of sense. And yeah, I mean, differential can be helpful in many ways. Like if you say, oh, it's just a tiny little bit too understeery. I mean, it's not it's not really feelable understeery, but you have the thing like the car just turns a tiny little bit more out of the corner. I could gain a lot more speed throughout the straight. So that's probably the moment when you have to open the differential on throttle to let the car turn a tiny little bit more and let it go out of the corner just the way you need it. That's all down to differential. And I know I've just talked a lot of things to you guys now, and if your heads are fuming, whatever, that's totally fine. However, I hope that I could give you some kind of insight. If you like what you saw, like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, put your questions in a comment, put it down. Sean's channel here. Otherwise, you look for more deep information on differential. I've did exactly the same video like I did now for you. I did it on my channel back then, like 2 months ago, and yeah, this will, yeah, get you even more information on what I did, and will, I think the technical insight on that video I've done the first time is a little bit more deep. Since for today I'm just time limited as I got a little call just a minute ago. So I only made it work, show you what differential is about, what differential can enable you. If you need more information, go to my channel. I will put that in the description as soon as this video is finished, and then yeah, come over to me, or I just put the video into the chat here and then put it into the description. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day, have a great evening, have a good night, sleep well. I'm Michi Hoyer from Avid Chronic Racing. I was live for the for Sean Cole, known as the Simpit, and I see you guys out on track.